On television and in cinema, not everything that is recorded should, in fact, reach the public. Over the years, some scenes went on air and immediately generated controversy, either because of questionable creative decisions, serious continuity errors, or moments that crossed the line of good sense. Some of these scenes caused outrage, others became a joke, and some simply did not fit into the narrative. Those are the scenes you will watch today. In the series How I Met Your Mother, there is a deleted scene that could have influenced fans' perception of the series finale. In this scene, Ted and Robin meet on a beach and discuss their lives. Robin mentions the pact they made years before, to get married if they were both single at 40 years old, and admits she thought about it. Ted, however, gently rejects the idea, stating that he does not think about what could have been and that this is happiness for him. This sequence shows that Ted had moved on from his feelings for Robin, which might have provided a different understanding of the series' conclusion. The scene also features Robin floating away, as if heading toward the sky, which ended up looking pretty strange, by the way. Additionally, Allison Hannigan, who portrayed Lily, revealed that the finale that aired was 18 minutes shorter than the original script, making it clear that many scenes really should not have gone on air, and thus many cuts were made. In the episode Homer vs. Dignity from the 12th season of The Simpsons, Homer faces financial difficulties and agrees to become Mr. Burns' do-everything guy, performing various humiliating tasks for money. One of these tasks involves Homer dressing as a panda at the local zoo. During this prank, he is dragged into the enclosure of a real panda, and although the scene does not show it explicitly, it is implied that Homer is attacked in a very inappropriate way by the animal. The scene stirred controversy for addressing the topic in a comedic manner, being deemed in poor taste by many viewers. Even today, many recall the scene and insist on criticizing it. However, despite all the controversies, it was never deleted. The scene is frequently cited as one of the most controversial moments of the show, prompting debates about the boundaries of humor in animated series aimed at an adult audience. In the episode Lush Life from the 4th season of The King of Queens, Doug notices that his wife, Carrie, returns from work more relaxed and in a better mood after having drinks with a coworker. Noticing this positive change, Doug conspires to keep Carrie in that state by regularly offering her alcoholic beverages, taking advantage of the situation so that his wife is always calm and happy, since in the show she often nags him. Although considered funny by many, the practice raised ethical questions and was also criticized by many viewers for being interpreted as a form of manipulation or doping, since Doug is altering Carrie's behavior without her consent. Still in the episode, Doug's situation gets complicated when neighbor Lou Ferrigno discovers the plan and informs Carrie, resulting in conflicts in their relationship. In the episode The Puerto Rican Day of the series Seinfeld, aired on May 7, 1998, there is a scene in which the character Kramer, played by Michael Richards, accidentally sets a Puerto Rican flag on fire. In an attempt to put out the flames, he steps on the flag, which outrages the participants of the Puerto Rican Day Parade. The furious crowd vandalizes Jerry's car, and Kramer comments, "It's like this every day in Puerto Rico." The scene generated significant controversy, with Puerto Rican leaders and activists expressing dissatisfaction over the negative portrayal and the disrespect to the flag. Fernando Ferrer, then president of the Bronx Borough, and Manuel Mirabal, president of the National Puerto Rican Coalition, were among the voices criticizing the episode. The National Broadcasting Company, producer of the series, issued a formal apology and withdrew the episode from its summer rerun. The creators and writers of Seinfeld defended the episode, arguing that the criticism arose even before it aired, possibly based only on the title. The writers also stated that the episode could have been set at any other annual New York parade without significantly changing the story. In an episode of Saturday Night Live aired on February 12, 1994, Adam Sandler portrayed Canteen Boy, a recurring character who was an innocent and childlike scout assistant. In this episode, Alec Baldwin played a scoutmaster who makes intimate and, let's say, quite inappropriate advances toward Canteen Boy. The scene generated significant controversy, as many viewers felt the show approached a delicate topic in a comedic manner. The situation became so controversial mainly because Adam Sandler's character was seen as naive, childlike, and unaware of what was really happening. In response to the criticism, Saturday Night Live added a disclaimer in reruns, clarifying that Canteen Boy was a 27-year-old adult, even though his portrayal and behavior suggested otherwise. On the television show Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, the American comedic adaptation of the Japanese game show Takeshi's Castle, the character Guy Ledouche, portrayed by John Cervenka, serves as the field reporter. Known for his eccentric and often inappropriate behavior, Guy Ledouche makes double entendre remarks and behaves in ways that can be considered offensive or controversial at various points in the show. These characteristics spark debates about the limits of humor and the portrayal of prejudice on television, as the character's hallmark was to say whatever he wanted, behave however he wished, be quite inconvenient, and even invasive.
Alert, and nothing will get by me, Guy.
Hey, baby doll.
Although the show was praised for its humorous approach, some viewers criticized its content for crossing the line of good taste, and Guy Ledouche became the target of much controversy, still remembered today. In the 5th season of House of Cards, there was a scene that generated a lot of controversy among fans for being considered poorly executed and lacking quality. In this sequence, Frank Underwood, portrayed by Kevin Spacey, engages in what many consider a corny dialogue with Secretary of State Catherine Durant, played by Jane Atkinson. The moment culminates in Frank pushing Durant down a flight of stairs at the White House in an attempt to eliminate a potential witness to his illegal activities. All this because the secretary, who had been closely following Frank and was aware of his wrongdoing, was on the verge of turning against him and was set to testify against him the following day. The story then found a way for Frank to eliminate this threat, which did not please viewers. Many viewers criticized the scene, calling it too simplistic and lazy, deviating from the usual complexity of the series. The secretary character ends up in a coma, allowing Frank to avoid what could have been the end of his career. In Breaking Bad, there is a memorable scene in which Skyler White, portrayed by Anna Gunn, seductively sings Happy Birthday to her boss Ted Beneke during his birthday celebration. This performance is a direct reference to Marilyn Monroe's famous rendition of the same song for President John F. Kennedy. The scene elicited mixed reactions from fans. Some found it awkward and out of context, while others saw it as a demonstration of the character's complexity and motivations. We know the series as a whole is regarded by many as one of the best in history, but this particular scene was considered by many to be unnecessary.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Regardless of opinions, the scene highlights the growing tension between Skyler and Ted, as well as the complicated dynamics in her relationship with Walter White, something that is highly significant throughout the series. In the episode Proshai Lavushka of the 3rd season of The Sopranos, producers faced the challenge of dealing with the absence of actress Nancy Marchand, who portrayed Livia Soprano and passed away prior to filming. To maintain narrative continuity, they opted to create a scene using computer graphics to represent Livia. This approach involved combining earlier recordings of the actress with computer-generated effects, resulting in a depiction that many viewers found artificial and unsettling. The scene drew criticism due to the quality of the computer graphics, which some considered subpar and unable to capture the actress's presence convincingly. Many fans of the series and viewers mentioned that the production could have found another way to handle the situation. One of the most suggested ideas was creating a storyline in which the character lost her life in the show or disappeared for some reason. For many, this would have been better than putting her on screen with poorly executed computer graphics. In Episode 8 of the 6th season of Game of Thrones, titled No One, Arya Stark is pursued by the waif in a much-criticized scene. Many fans compared this sequence to a cartoonish chase due to its execution and the tone that differed from the rest of the series. The criticism focused on the lack of realism and how the scene was directed, which sparked discussions about narrative coherence and Arya's characterization at that point in the story. Online remixes show the scene set to a typical cartoon soundtrack in the background, and it actually fits quite well with what happens on screen. Despite its massive success and being considered one of the greatest and best productions of all time, Game of Thrones is heavily criticized for its final season, which deviate completely from the beginning, with a script and conclusion deemed poor by the majority. In episode 11 of the first season of Lost, titled All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues, there is an intense scene in which Jack Shephard, portrayed by Matthew Fox, desperately tries to save his friend Charlie Pace, played by Dominic Monaghan. After finding Charlie hanged by Ethan Romm, Jack begins aggressive cardiopulmonary resuscitation maneuvers and, losing hope of reviving his friend, starts delivering punches to him. Some viewers question the medical accuracy of the scene, considering the techniques Jack used as unorthodox and potentially harmful, especially since Jack's character is a doctor. Despite being controversial and criticized, the sequence was also widely praised for its emotional intensity and Fox's convincing performance, highlighting Jack's commitment to saving lives under extreme circumstances. In episode 18 of the third season of The X-Files, titled Teso dos Bichos, agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully investigate a series of mysterious deaths that occur after the arrival of an ancient artifact in Boston. During the investigation, they discover an underground tunnel filled with rats and find the bodies of the missing victims. In that setting, Scully is attacked by a cat with a bloody mouth, followed by other aggressive felines that go after the agents. They manage to escape through an opening previously used by the rats. The scene where the agents are attacked by house cats was widely criticized by viewers who considered it generic and not scary, detracting from the immersive and tense side the episode could have had. The show's leads, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, also expressed dissatisfaction with the episode, pointing out that the cats did not convey the intended sense of threat, which compromised the show's trademark suspenseful atmosphere. The final episode of 2.5 Men, titled Of Course He's Dead, aired on February 19, 2015, and stirred significant controversy among fans and critics. The plot reveals that Charlie Harper, played by Charlie Sheen, was alive after being presumed dead, but he does not appear on screen directly. Instead, he is represented by a body double shown only from behind. The absence of Sheen and the meta approach of the episode, which included direct references to the disputes between the actor and the show's creator, Chuck Lorre, were central points of criticism. The episode ends with a piano falling on Charlie's double, followed by a scene of Lorre saying, "Winning," a sarcastic reference to the catchphrase popularized by Sheen. Many viewers found the finale unsatisfying and disrespectful, feeling that it did not live up to the legacy of the show, which was considered by many as one of the best in the comedy genre. A continuity error and confusion in the dialogue among the characters in the first season of The Big Bang Theory caught the attention of viewers, who noticed it and began commenting on it online. In one particular scene, the characters mentioned that the elevator in their building has been out of service for 2 years. However, in a later episode, a flashback reveals that the incident that caused the elevator to break happened 5 years earlier. This time, discrepancy sparked discussions among fans about the series' continuity. Most likely it was a continuity mistake that was not overlooked, and fans reacted to the moment, turning it into one of the most talked about slip-ups, as we have seen in other productions. Some fans even tried to defend the idea that the intention was to show that the character who cited the wrong time was just forgetful, or trying to play down the situation by reducing the length of time. But they were countered by others who pointed out that this particular character is extremely intelligent and likely would not make such a mistake. The characters Marco and Lionel Salamanca, known as the Cousins in Breaking Bad, were criticized by some viewers due to their distinct characterization. While the series is widely known for its realistic and dramatic performances, the Cousins stand out for their silent and relentless nature, which some consider to be at odds with the rest of the cast. This portrayal was seen by some as overly caricatured, not aligning with the depth and complexity of the other characters in the series. The decision to portray them as almost mute and extremely lethal was intentional, aiming to create an aura of mystery and threat. However, this approach led to debates over its effectiveness within the realistic context that Breaking Bad typically presents. Some fans expressed dissatisfaction with the lack of development of the Cousins, feeling that their simplistic portrayal did not meet the show's established narrative standard. According to some information, the decision to keep them nearly silent can be interpreted as a stylistic choice to emphasize their ruthless nature and the culture of violence in which they are immersed. Scare Tactics was a television show known for its elaborate and frightening pranks, where the victims, usually actors, were placed in terrifying situations. The show achieved significant success and influenced the creation of similar content, especially on YouTube, where creators began producing more intense pranks inspired by the show's format. This trend led to a proliferation of scare pranks videos on the platform, reflecting the lasting influence of scare tactics on prank culture online, and, of course, sparking criticism for all that influence, which many considered to be quite negative. Many viewers and internet users argued that the show encouraged behaviors that could cause trauma or dangerous situations, especially when imitated by people without proper preparation or consideration for the consequences. At the end of the first season of American Gods, the character Meister Wednesday reveals himself to be Odin, the Norse god of war, poetry, death, and knowledge. Although this revelation is central to the narrative, some viewers criticize the execution of the scene, finding it predictable or poorly developed. Many cited the sequence as unnecessarily cheesy and poorly crafted. In addition, the computer graphics used to illustrate the moment were said to be poorly done, making the situation even less immersive. This stood out from the rest of the series, which introduced other gods in a much more well-structured way. Another point of criticism was that, throughout the show, many clues hinted at Wednesday's true identity, such as his association with ravens and his lack of an eye, making it almost obvious who he really was. Because of this, the revelation, apart from not having much impact, was considered very poorly constructed. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.